Welcome to Lesson 4.6, Physics Basics. This lesson simplifies the most important physics topics you'll need to know for the TEAS exam. You won't need to solve advanced problems or memorize complex formulas. Just understand the essential ideas of motion, forces, energy, and how these concepts relate to the real world and healthcare settings. Let's start with the basics. What is force? A force is simply any push or pull on an object, and it's measured in newtons, abbreviated as N. Forces are what cause things to move, stop, speed up, slow down, or change direction. Now, let's look at 4 common types of force you need to know for the TEAS. Gravity pulls objects toward Earth, like when a ball falls. Friction resists motion between two surfaces. Think of bike brakes. Applied force is when a person or object pushes or pulls something, like pushing a wheelchair. Normal force is the upward support from a surface, like a book resting on a table. And here's a TEAS tip. If you see a question about a moving object, always think about gravity, friction, or some kind of contact force as the likely cause. Now let's go over Newton's 3 laws of motion, a must-know topic for the TEAS. First, the law of inertia. An object at rest will stay at rest, and an object in motion will stay in motion, unless an unbalanced force changes it. Think of a patient lying in bed. They won't move unless someone helps them. Or a ball that keeps rolling until something like friction or a wall stops it. Second, force equals mass times acceleration, or F, equals m times a. This means heavier objects need more force to move. It's why pushing a full hospital bed takes more effort than moving a light wheelchair. Third, action and reaction. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. If you push on a wall, the wall pushes back. Or when a nurse presses down on a syringe, the medicine comes out with equal force in the opposite direction. And here's your TEAS tip. Expect these laws in real-life healthcare scenarios. So focus on understanding the logic, not just memorizing terms. Now let's look at the basics of motion, speed, and velocity, which often appear on the TEAS. Motion means an object is changing position over time. Speed tells us how fast something is moving. The formula is simple. Speed equals distance divided by time. For example, if a gurney moves 30 meters in 10 seconds, speed equals 30 and divided by 10 equals 3 meters per second. Now, if the direction matters, we're talking about velocity. So, speed equals 3 meters per second. Velocity equals 3 meters per second north. Finally, there's acceleration, which is how quickly velocity changes, either speeding up, slowing down, or changing direction. And here's your TEAS tip. You might be asked to calculate speed or compare movement using a graph or chart, so be sure to understand the formulas and key terms. Now, let's talk about energy and work, what it is, how it moves things, and why it matters on the TEAS. There are 2 main types of energy you need to know. Kinetic energy is the energy of motion. If something is moving, like a running person, it has kinetic energy. Potential energy, on the other hand, is stored energy. Think of a stretched rubber band or a ball at the top of a hill. It has energy that hasn't been released yet. Now, what is work? In science, work happens when a force moves an object. To calculate work, use the formula work equals force times distance. For example, if you push with 10 newtons of force for 5 meters, you've done 10 times 5 equals 50 joules of work. But remember, if there's no movement, there's no work. Pushing hard without moving something doesn't count. Lastly, energy can transform from one type to another. Your body converts chemical energy from food into mechanical energy to walk. An electric heating pad converts electrical energy into thermal energy. So, know the difference between kinetic and potential energy, and be sure you're familiar with the formula for work. Let's talk about simple machines, tools that make work easier by reducing the force needed to move something. These machines don't have motors or engines, but they give us a mechanical advantage. There are 6 main types, and you've probably seen them in everyday life, and even in healthcare. Let's wrap up with the key takeaways you need for the TEAS. First, remember that force is any push or pull. Gravity and friction are two forces that show up often on the test. Newton's 3 laws of motion are essential. The first law says objects stay at rest or in motion unless something acts on them. The second law gives us the formula: force equals mass times acceleration. The third law reminds us that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. For motion, speed equals distance divided by time. If direction matters, it's velocity. Work happens when force causes movement. No movement means no work. The formula is force times distance. There are two types of energy: kinetic energy for movement and potential energy for stored energy. And finally, know your simple machines, like levers, pulleys, and ramps. These tools reduce effort and often show up in real-world TEAS questions.